Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of My Car Shop. Just doing a little shorts edition here on the 74 Swinger. Moving some cars around today. Wanted to put the 73 Swinger up in the barn with the, or in the garage up there with the 69 Charger. And let's see, I think you can see the 73. There it is, okay. So yeah, Brad 73, it's got the flywheel's loose on the crank. We got to pull the transmission out and get that fixed. But where I was keeping it was with my lawnmower, and I always had to pull it out, and I don't like starting it with that flywheel rattling around. So I decided, well, the 74 always starts, so we'll put it back there with the lawnmower. And of course today it wouldn't start. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Kept priming the car. Finally realized the float was stuck, so I knocked the float loose. That was fine. Started it, and I could smell gas really bad. And I looked over, and there's a huge puddle on the floor. Fuel line rotted out on the bottom. Metal fuel line from the fuel pump up to the carburetor. So I went in the back on another slant six, pulled that line off, getting ready to change that on here. Then this car will be ready to go back there. The gas is all old and crappy. I really need to be just driving it a bit, but it's obviously all apart. The doors are hardly bolted on. The fenders aren't bolted on at all because I want to hang the quarters on it, get this thing in some weatherproof primer of a green nature and drive it and enjoy it. I've got a real low mileage 318 to put in it at some point, but right now I just want the thing to be a driver so I can be out enjoying the car for a while. Probably don't know if that'll happen this year, but anyway, so I'm just going to be changing the fuel line here on this Slant 6 and this thing. I don't remember if we've talked about this car or not. Real low mileage car. It had about 30,000 miles on it when we bought it, pulled it out of a big huge pile of weeds. The original owner purchased it brand new in 1974 and didn't have it very long, and she died. And the family just parked it behind a barn. A guy I went to school with ended up picking it up. He had it, bought it for his wife. He was going to fix it. Things happened. They never got to it. So when my son was in high school, we decided we wanted to find him a classic car to drive. And I remembered this, so I went out and looked at it. And it was bad. I mean, it was a mess, but it was fixable. So we decided to go ahead and get it. And we've been working on it. But when I was pulled up with the trailer to winch it on the trailer, he said, start it, it drives. And I got in and I said, 130,000? He said, no, it's original miles. I didn't believe him, but we drove it for a little bit, had some brake problems. I pulled the wheels off, and all of the original retainers are still on the drums. It's the original brake shoes. Car had 30,000 on it. So I think it's got 40,000 on it now. I don't remember. So it's a very low mileage car, and thank God it was Z-barred when it was new. That's what saved it, because it was sitting in the dirt, sitting in the weeds all these years. But so we went down to Kentucky, picked up a bunch of sheet metal from my buddy Charlie, got doors, fenders, hood, some interior parts. I bought new quarter panels for it. We just never got it all put back together again. So the car's been kicking around a long time. Hopefully maybe this summer my son will be home, hint, hint, and we can knock out these quarter panels in a weekend and get the car put back together again so that it's complete. Still needs a windshield. Dash pad has to be replaced. We did put an interior in it, but the sun's been bleaching it out because we've had it quite a while now, and it's been sitting out most of the time. So anyway, this is the 74 Swinger, and we're going to put a fuel line on it, get it fired back up again, and put it back in the back storage area. Okay, so we're going to reach down in here and hopefully take that line off. Line wrench here. Hopefully this doesn't give us too much fits. It's kind of fun with as rusty as this car is. You would think that things would come apart hard, but they really don't. The car's actually it's pretty nice. We've done some work on the engine. You can see we painted the valve cover. I adjusted the valves on it. Had to put a carburetor kit in it years ago, and then this last year, this spring, when I went to start this car again, it hadn't been running in a while, and the carb was not acting right. So I just finally went upstairs and found another carburetor and threw on it that had been rebuilt. Okay, I was just saying about how it works good, and I can't get that off of there. It's probably my angle. Well, of course, this fuel line has never been off of here since it was new, so there you go on that. Get a little different throw at it here. Part of it is the spark plug wire's right in the way. There we go. Get that out of there, maybe I can get a little different angle at it. There we go. Next thing will be I'll break off the neck on the fuel pump. I don't think it's rusted. I think it's just tight. Okie dokie then. Gonna have to get a little more persuasion on it, I think. There we go. Just wasn't getting a good throw at it, that's all. Now we got the weed killer going here. Anyway, kind of am, ain't they? I was just bragging about how everything is always so loose on this car, but it wasn't that it was that tight. It's never been off since new, so it's been on there since 1974. But it's also just was a bad angle, so we got that taken care of now. Replaced all this fuel line when I did the carburetor, as far as the rubber stuff up here. So that should come out of there okay, but this old fuel filter is kind of, it's a plastic one, and it doesn't like to play nice. So let's see what we can do. We'll do it this way maybe. Leave the fuel filter alone and just take it off the steel line. I really like these clear filters because you can always tell if you got fuel or if it's drained back to the tank. It's just an easy way. Oh, it's nice. We're tearing the line up now. We have to replace that one. It hasn't been on there that long. Okay, there she goes. Well, I think we just broke it loose on the carburetor bowl. That's fine. It's only been on there for a couple months, but it glued itself on there pretty darn good. Well, you little bugger, come on. There you go. All right. Before I get carried away here, that explains why the fuel line was empty and it took so long to get fuel up to it, because there was a big hole in it. It kept draining back. Just tightening this one up here on the carburetor. Okay. Now we're getting there. Yeah, this broke loose right here, so we'll go up. Broke the filter. Dang it. Yeah, it's ancient, so no surprise. We'll just put a metal one, since I happen to have one right here on the new line. So, all right. All right, let's see what we got here. Fuel pump's on, or fuel line is on, and hopefully everything's good. And let's just see what we got. got is dirty battery terminal or something. Okay, well, first of all, it's missing because I forgot to put the plug wire back on. You probably caught that. I didn't. Of course, I knew it as soon as I started it. But what we have is a bad fuel pump. So I checked the line. I didn't go into all this with you, but I'll flip you up here where you can see me. So I pulled the line off. What I felt underneath it before, it was soaking wet and it felt rusty, so I just assumed. So as soon as I got it off, I vacuum tested it, and it ain't the line. So put it back on, suspecting I knew it was the fuel pump, but I thought, well, maybe that plastic filter that broke was leaking back down. I didn't see that it was. We got leaks up here now, though. I'm going to figure out what that is. Maybe I'll end up replacing that line yet, but I suspect it's coming out of this clamp right here. It's just not tight enough. Anyway, so the pump is, I started and I could look down there and I could see fuel just shooting out of the vent on the pump. So pump went bad. 1974, probably the original pump. I guess we'll forgive it. I've got another one on another Slant 6 out back, so I'll get that replaced here soon. I'm out of time for today. I've got a bunch of other stuff I got to get done, but probably should start it one more time, but I hate to with that because it's really pumping gas out of there bad, so I probably won't. I'm just curious what this, why this is wet here now, but I suspect it's coming out of this fitting right here. So the line is good. Like I said, I vacuum tested it, and it held a vacuum for 30 seconds and would have kept going. I just finally said, okay, it's obviously not leaking. I mean, the thing only puts out 4 or 5 psi of fuel pressure, so it would have to be a really big hole to put out the amount of gas I'm seeing down there, and I thought it was, but so there you go. I misdiagnosed it. It happens, but that's part of the process. Is it looked like where it was coming from. I took the line off, and that's not where it's coming from. So tomorrow, maybe I'm just going to leave this car sit out here outside the barn for the night, and maybe tomorrow I will get back there again on that other motor and pull that fuel pump off and get it stuck in this motor. It's 2 lines and 2 bolts. It's not a big job. It'll take me an hour to get it done at the most, and I'm being generous, I hope. So anyway, there you go, the 74 Swinger. I think this is the first episode we've done on this car. Low mileage. Let me go look and see exactly what the miles are on this thing. Okay, so here we go. What do we got? 45,710 original miles on this car. It had been parked for, since 78, maybe. And it had, I want to say 32,000 on it when we got it, but maybe Joe, if you're watching, you can put it down in the comments if you remember what it was. It was rat infested. It was terrible. We put seats in it, put carpeting in it. The door panels were good. The doors were rust free. The fenders were completely toast. You can see the condition of the quarter panels. But structurally, the car is sound underneath. The unibody's good, which is why we decided to save it. So there you go on this one. We're going to get her fixed up looking good and make a driver. So 74 Swinger. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode on the 74 Swinger. We still have a massive fuel leak. Oh no! We'll get that pump on there in the next couple days. Main thing is I wanted to get the 73 in that garage with that loose flywheel I think I mentioned on there. I don't like starting that car up and moving it at all, so when it's in that garage, you can just sit and until we get a chance to pull that transmission out and get that flywheel tightened down on the crankshaft. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Hey, do me a favor, would you? Spread the word about this show. If you got some people that are into cars that might enjoy this kind of stuff that we do here, let them know. See if they can subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you hit the little bell there. That'll make sure you get all the notifications. We're on Instagram, My Car Shop. We're on Facebook, /MyCarShop. MYKARS. So thanks for joining. Hey, hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day.